NYPD officer accused of brutally beating a man during a parade. Here it is.
Officer, listen, no. Officer, no, listen, officer. Yo, Nardo, keep walking, officer. No, can you let him go? Yo, they hit him. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing to these officers. The person that had the open container was not even him.
Put it a full mass. I got some background and foreground here. Per ABC News 7, New York. The NYPD is facing allegations of police brutality over a video capturing an officer punching a man repeatedly during a parade. This was the Dominican Day Parade on July 28th in the Bronx. Cell phone video shows 25-year-old Arnardo Vargas Jr. take more than a dozen blows to the face and to the body. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. Vargas Jr. says that's how many times he was punched by an NYPD cop, and other officers held him. Quote, I heard him saying something. And then from that point, I'm just seeing people grabbing my head and started punching me. The alleged incident happened on Sunday as he and his friends were celebrating the parade together. Mr. Vargas says things escalated when police asked the group to move. Quote, we were complying with him as well, and we were walking with him, he said. Quote, and from that point on, he started to get aggressive with us. Police say Vargas Jr. refused orders to disperse and charged him with resisting arrest and disorderly conduct fighting. In a statement, Patrick Hendry, president of the Police Benevolent Association, said in part, this individual resisted arrest and the law and NYPD policies permit police officers to use force, including hand strikes, in order to take a resisting suspect into custody. The NYPD will come back and say he was not cooperative, so asking a question aggressively means that you can punch someone in the face 13 times, said Hawk Newsom, co-founder of Black Lives Matter Greater New York. Vargas Jr. says he asked the police why he was being harassed, which he believes prompted the violence that sent him to the hospital with a concussion and emotional trauma. Vargas and the activists standing with him are calling for the Department of Justice and Vice President Kamala Harris to get involved. Quote, Joe Biden wrote a handwritten letter saying that the White House will monitor this situation. Well, the time for monitoring is over, Newsom said. Vargas has an attorney, yet he's unsure if he will sue at this time. He told Eyewitness News reporter Crystal Cranmore that he's focused on healing and just grateful to be alive. Quote, it could have gone worse, Vargas Jr. said. We see you, the police officers who engage in this kind of conduct, unprofessional, unbecoming. Mr. Vargas, we hear you. We stand with you. The reality is they will try to find their statutory protection, their legal rights to do this because you resisted. But I believe your story, sir. I do not believe theirs. I believe your story and the story of the witnesses with you. And I believe when you pose the question, that is what set them off. I believe that as well. We've seen it so many times here. To the officers involved, is this why you wear that uniform? Is this the point you wanted to make to society? My dear brother, you cover so many of these and you articulate so well what's right, what's wrong, what's legal, what's illegal, what's constitutional, what's unconstitutional. When you see something like this, because they didn't arrest her for any kind of serious crime, even after all of that, there is no felony crime here. There never was. They arrested him for resisting arrest. What the hell? Brother, tell us, talk to us.
Well, and I mean, so often we see police officers at their worst when they're surrounded by other police officers because they feel empowered and feel like they can use even more force to put somebody down and to be aggressive. And so open container, maybe, I suppose, maybe somebody in the crowd had an open container. But if you start detaining anybody, you as a police officer, you have to explain, here's why I'm detaining you. Here's why I'm arresting. Citizens have the right to say, excuse me, officer, you're hauling me off. Why are you doing this?
Right.
If a police officer doesn't like the tone in which they are asked that question or thinks that somebody's talking back to them, too bad. We all have the right. We can even tell a police officer to go do that thing that is anatomically impossible, and the police cannot respond by using force or arresting you because of your speech. But clearly you have police officers, countless police officers in countless departments who feel like their feelings get hurt. And they become feelings enforcement instead of law enforcement. And they didn't like that somehow they thought this guy was talking back to them. So then they haul him off and then say, stop resisting, because the cameras are rolling, and stop resisting becomes their defense. And then they just start punching them. And the rest of them like, oh, well, the police officer's punching him, so I'll join in restraining him because the good cop wouldn't punch somebody needlessly. Well, actually, some of them do.
Yep.
It's horrific on many levels. And, Dr. Richey, we've seen a lot of lawsuits that are brought. This one seems like it would be pretty much a slam dunk lawsuit if, in fact, this gentleman wanted to sue the police for violation of his civil rights.
Yeah, I agree. And naturally, we will update the story. I do expect an update very soon.